So I truly believe AI growth offers are going to be the new thing going into 2025. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, then you probably feel like you don't have a good enough offer. Or maybe you don't even have an offer in the first place. And that is totally fine. Because when I first started, before I signed a lot of clients, over 500 to be exact, I had a worse offer than you watching this. I had no subscribers, no personal brand, no experience, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But when I finished school in 2022, I had no idea what I was doing. So hopefully this is providing you with some reassurance, and I definitely knew that I didn't want to go down the traditional 9 to 5 route of getting a job and then just retiring and living a boring life. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but it wasn't what it was made out to be. You see, gurus, the people that you watch on YouTube, are pushing fast cars, nice apartments, and that's not what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is brutal. You start with no offer, just like what I did. I had no product market fit, same as you, no experience, and you probably have a lot of doubt as well, which I certainly did when I first started, which is totally normal. And just for reference, it did take me 6 months to sign my first clients. But the reason I'm telling you this, I'll get to in a second, but it was because I had the same offer as everyone else. Like, when I reached out to prospects on Instagram DMs, I would literally get yelled at through voice notes, just various other aggressive ways that they would basically tell me to go away, obviously in a much ruder way than I just shared. But you get the point. And the first client I signed was the most euphoric feeling. So I'm making this video so you can feel that same feeling, right? Because I always believe in leading with value, and I'm not selling you literally anything in this video. You won't find a link to buy anything. I just want to provide value so you can have the same feeling that I had when I signed my first clients. And it felt better than me making 50k per month, even more than that. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. The first client was the most euphoric, and I managed to get another client in the same week. So it happens very fast, but the initial period when you don't know what you're doing, it's slow and it's painful, which isn't what the gurus sell, right? But from that point on, once I signed clients, I knew I was never going back. I knew it was possible, and I went from that, so 2 clients in 1 week, to 5k a month, to 10k a month, and then past 50k a month with freedom in every metric you can manage. So throughout my journey, as I just demonstrated, I've been able to find what's good, what's bad. I've struggled, I've seen success. So I'm just demonstrating this to show you that I know what I'm talking about, and I can really help you in this video. So the truth, and I'm going to boil this down to its most simple form, and I'm actually going to give you an offer that has 4 simple steps to it, right? So it's going to be super easy to digest. You just need to watch this video and continue watching. So the truth is that there are actually only 3 things that you can sell online to make money. You've got done for you, which is the typical agency model. You've got done with you, which is the consulting model, and you've got a do it yourself, which is a course. Now, here's the thing. The gurus that you watch who push different business models and new opportunities, it is fundamentally 1 or 2 of these 3 things. They just package it up as a new opportunity because new opportunities always sell better. But I need you to understand that there are only 3 things that you can do to make money online, and here they are. Now, in terms of scalability, and I'm actually going to get much more technical in terms of what is the best AI growth offer in a second, but I just need you to understand the fundamentals. So in terms of scalability, obviously the agency model is the hardest thing to scale because you're spending your time to deliver the results. Done with you is kind of scalable, definitely a lot more, like probably 5x more than the done for you, and then do it yourself is obviously the most scalable. Now, here's the catch. Like with anything in life, all the best things have downsides. So done for you, whilst it's like not the most scalable, it's the easiest thing to sell by far, because you can get prospects on a call, which I'm going to show you how to do in this video if you keep watching, and you can explain to them that you're literally going to do it for them. You're going to spend your time, which business owners don't have. Time is extremely valuable. There are quite literally billionaires out there who are spending millions per year to slow their aging down. I promise you, time is way more valuable than money. But nonetheless, right, you're going to explain that you're actually using your time, which they don't have, to get them results. Done with you is kind of easy, not too hard to sell, but it's a lot harder to sell than done for you. And then do it yourself is by far the hardest thing to sell because it's not custom made, and I hate courses. Like, I'm not a big course person. Like, I hate them. I think, yeah, there's a lot better things that you can sell. But nonetheless, which one should you go for? And it's not actually one. It's a combination of 2, which I'm going to break down, and it's going to be called the AI growth offer, right? So after I hit 10k per month, just a quick recap, I hated everything. And which this is crazy to hear, right? Because you're probably thinking, Charlie, how can you make that much money at like 19 and hate the business model? And it was because I was doing everything for my clients. And I'm going to explain this in a second, so keep watching. But I just wanted you to understand that if you get this wrong and you don't watch this video, then it might happen to you. So keep watching. But just a progression of my offers, I went from a done-for-you content editing agency to a done-for-you VA agency. So virtual assistants, I'd find them on Upwork and I'd place them into coaching clients' DMs. So they would send DMs to people who like their content and so forth, right? I then went to a done-with-you automations and consulting model. And then finally, what I do now is a done-for-you and done-with-you AI growth consulting, but I package up the done-for-you into snapshots, right? Very simple, but you actually have an advantage over me right now, which is your time. So it's going to be slightly different to what you're doing compared to what I'm doing, right? Just because we're in different positions, but it's still going to make sense, right? So right now I kind of sell like a low mid ticket thing. I do have a very high ticket, but that's more for like very custom people. Like I don't work with everyone on that. It's a quite high ticket thing, but I want you to go more high ticket in your offer because logically it makes sense to sell 5 people at 1K a month, which is much easier to do to get to 5K a month rather than just like selling, I don't know, let's say 100 people at like 50 a month, right? It just doesn't make sense for you to go low ticket if you don't have the marketing skills. So I recommend doing an agency model, which I'm going to explain in a second, kind of mixed with consulting and automations. But yeah, it just makes sense to use your time to over deliver, which is easier to sell. So here's the 4 stages, which I promise you, and it's going to be your framework for actually following your offer. So this isn't going to be complex. It's going to be really simple if you keep watching. Now, the part 1, and I want you to write this down. If you can have a notepad out, amazing. Part 1 is you need a fast return on investment mechanism, and I will explain what this is in a second. Part 2 is you need traffic. You need some type of lead flow tab, something where you can turn on the lead flow for them. Part 3, the conversion mechanism, and part 4 is going to be refinement and consulting. Now, the beautiful part about this is not only can you access the processing fluency bias, which I'll talk about in a second, but you can also leverage whichever one you want. So you can do this for a client in terms of the 4 parts, which I covered, and I'll cover again to make it clearer. But you could also, once you get 5, 10 clients, you can then do this as a consulting model, right? But it's still the exact same 4-step framework. You get the client, or you figure out what is the mechanism in which they can get a fast return on investment, and I'm literally going to give you one in a second. Number 2, you figure out what is the best traffic for their business and where did their ideal client profiles hang out. Number 3 is a conversion mechanism. Number 4 is what we talked about, which is you consulting them on the prior 3 things, right? Just so you exit the 9-to-5 agency model, because if you do it for the client forever, month after month on a retainer model, then you're going to be a slave to your clients. So you want to exit, and I recommend doing that 2 to 3 weeks after doing the done for you setup. But I'm going to explain this in much more depth in a second, but hopefully this is starting to make sense if I can actually speak. It's the same framework. You can just do it done for you, done with you, or you could even sell it as a course if you really wanted to, like an info product. So yeah, let's talk about the processing fluency bias, which is why I've packaged it up into a 4-step framework, right? So cognitive biases, for those who don't know, are quite literally systematic errors that make humans in their psyche, their brain, that makes them more likely to do something. So, for example, if you're just buying stuff on a day-to-day basis, there are systematic errors that your brain does, and cognitive biases are the precursor to them. So, as an example, the processing fluency bias is a cognitive bias, and it refers to the ease of which information is processed, and the easier something is to understand or act on, the more likely people are to engage with it, which is why we've essentially packaged up the complex mechanisms and have it as a framework. So you're not selling the mechanisms in your direct response marketing, which, if you don't know what direct response is, it is basically cold DMs, paid ads, anything where you are writing or telling people to buy something or book a call, right? That is direct response. So yeah, we don't sell the lead flow system that you have in step 2 of the offer, right? You aren't selling that shit because people don't care how you get them results. They just want to know that you can get them results. and they want to know that it's simple, and you don't want to confuse them, right? So yeah, you want to provoke curiosity, but it should be relieving that you now have a bit of a protocol that you can work with. And the reason it's called an AI growth offer, which I'm going to get to in a second, right? But this is hopefully making sense in terms of, yeah, you have a protocol, and it doesn't matter how you want to do it, whether it's done for you. I recommend starting doing it with your time and then transition out of it. So yeah, each stage of the 4-part formula should be molded to your niche, not the other way around. So I don't want you just doing like, I don't know, Instagram ads as the traffic source, or let's say for the conversion mechanism, you want to do an AI caller. It shouldn't be what you want. Never in business do what you want. Always do what the market and your niche wants, right? And you only really get that trench knowledge by speaking and booking appointments. So like what I explained, and the reason I showed you my progression of my offers earlier is because you've got to understand that what you're doing right now and what you're selling, you're not going to sell that for like the next 6 months. You're going to have to continuously pivot your offer as the market changes. So when I started with my virtual assistant agency, it made sense. This was like a year and a half ago. Automations were still a thing, but not as big as they were. So it made sense to, like, I was solving, like, I went from content, which isn't really solving any problem besides saving someone time and, you know, something like that. But it's not really, you can't attach like an ROI on it. I then went to appointment setting, which is a bit better because you can actually like monetize it in terms of, I get you 10 appointments and that equates to X amount of tangible, like monetary value, right? Like $1,000, right? Or $100 per appointment. So which is better than the content. And then I went from the appointment setting to the just selling automations like ManyChat infrastructures and things like that, right? So it's like you see the progression of it, but I only knew that because when you stay in the online space for like a year, 2 years, you get a better idea of what actually people want. So yeah, just know that your offer will change as you go, so don't worry if it's pretty shit right now. But an example of an offer, which is the part you've all been waiting for, we essentially have an offer here, which is, it follows the 4-step framework, which I've already given you. So the first one, if we remember correctly, this was the fast return on investment. So as an example, hypothetically, if you are working with a business or a company, let's say you're working with med spas. Med spas have clients all the time for treatments, which means that they've had a list of, they have a list of customers that have bought their thing in the past. If you work with roofing, they have had clients in the past who have needed roofing repairs. So you can easily get them a return on investment within the first week, or even first 2 days, to be honest. It's just by doing an SMS and an email blast with a limited time offer. That is as simple as I can explain it for the DBR. It stands for database reactivation. I would highly recommend doing this. Or as I mentioned, if you want to do a consulting model and you want to work with local businesses, you would still get them to do the same thing, because the easiest way to get someone results is, who do they already know? Who has already bought for them in the past? And every business should have a list of old customers that you can just do an SMS blast to, with telling them that you've got a 50% limited time discount for this weekend only. Come in and we're going to give you a special treatment, whatever you think would work best for your client. So that's the first mechanism, which we talked about. So you can swap this out for another one if you think there's another one that's better for your niche. As I mentioned, you want to mold this to your niche. Now, let's just say you're working with coaches. You could help them with content. You could write the next 30 YouTube scripts for them and edit the next 30 YouTube videos in terms of thumbnails, things like that for them as well. So this is, once again, needs to be molded to your niche. If you're working with, like, let's say, personal trainers online, you could do the database reactivation if they have like old leads and old customers, and then you could start Instagram ads, right? It really depends on who you're working with. So I can't give you a definitive answer for what you should do for the traffic, because if you're working with, like, let's say, like roofing, Google ads would be a lot better than Instagram ads. So you need to mold this to your niche, but it's the same thing, right? It follows the framework. In terms of the conversion mechanism, obviously, like, you could just stop at the database reactivation and then do some traffic for them. That's totally fine. Is it an amazing offer? No. Is it okay? Kind of. But it's not going to be like, wow. You're not going to be able to over deliver. And more importantly, most people just run a Facebook ads like agency, and it's extremely hard to sell people on that, because you get them leads and it's like, cool, now what? The client still has to convert them. So if you can just handle that internally, it's just like so much better. You can charge way more, you can over deliver, you get better testimonials, and as I mentioned, when you're starting, you have the time to be able to do it for them. So that's what I recommend doing. Now, this could be swapped for AI calling. It could be swapped for like, I don't know, like a application form. It really depends on what funnel your client is running. So that's why it really helps just booking appointments. And it's a bit of a awkward thing you have to go through where you have to speak with your niche on an appointment first and like sell them on something, just like a proof of concept to validate your offer before you've actually delivered it, right? It's really awkward, but every entrepreneur has to go through that. Even myself, like I once had never done service delivery, but I still had to get a client to actually get better, right? Everyone has to go through that. So yeah, you just have to remove emotion and just rely on your work ethic when you don't have the skill sets. So that's important. But yeah, hopefully this is making sense. Database motivation, as an example, you could do like content scripts. This could be Instagram ads. It could be influencer shout outs. You can get really creative with how you get traffic for your clients, depending, obviously, just do which one's best. But yeah, you know, this is more for like increasing LTV. So I don't want to get too complex because I know that a lot of like people who watch these videos aren't doing more than like 20K a month. So basically, to increase LTV, you want to make something sticky. Now, AI setting, or this could be a CRM with like a pipeline in it or something, but you want to place something into their business, and that's why it's called an AI growth offer, because you have the traffic that grows their business, and then you've got AI to convert the growth, like the traffic. And this is amazing just for like your service being sticky, because if you place something like an automation into someone's business, then that's being used every single day, every single month. And a lot of people don't realize that to get reoccurring revenue from a client, you have to do reoccurring work. But now you don't have to do reoccurring work because you have automation. So you can put things into thousands of times. So that can sort of do the work for you, and it can remain a sticky service. And then this is just consulting. So I recommend doing 0 to 2 weeks, just setting up the done for you element of the first 3 parts, and then just transition into consulting model. You can put your clients into a community together. I think that's also great for increasing the lifetime value, so how long clients pay you for, which is one of the most important things. Just because if you put your clients and you sort of like exit them out into a community and do group coaching, which is, you know, what I personally used to do, and I still run like a similar kind of thing, it's just like so much better because clients can lose the connection between you and them, but they can connect with other clients. So they will stay and pay you even though you're not really doing anything. So it's the same as like the automation in terms of leverage, but it's a great way of doing that. So if you can transition into consulting and then also help them week to week in case they have like hiccups or roadblocks with these first 3 parts, that's going to be amazing. So this is like the ultimate offer in my opinion that I'd be running. Obviously you swap it out for your niche, but it's the same premise of like what you do, and it's a growth offer. So the beautiful thing about this is now you actually have a framework around your offer. So it's not so much like a theory. You actually now have system proof, right? That you can explain this on a call. Once again, don't explain this in the DMs. No one gives a shit about your actual mechanisms. People only care about like the curiosity and the emotion and the vacation, you could say. That's what people care about. The fact that you can get them an extra 5K a month from this 4-step growth protocol, or however you want to call it. So yeah, this really helps, and hopefully you can see the value in this, and you can market however you want. Like you could call this, I'll get to that in a second, but like you can deliver it how you want as well. So done for you, done with you. You can sell this as an info product. I just recommend doing it for the client, just so you can get better knowledge and speak to your clients better, and yeah, just grow. But you could disguise this as a growth partner model, AI ops, so operations, or maybe you can position yourself as like an automation wizard, and this is just the like framework that you would follow, right? And yeah, it's amazing. Just mold yourself to the market, not the other way around. Don't get emotional and start selling something because you want to sell it. So hopefully this helped and provided you a bit of clarity, and I want you to think about what you can have as your 4-step framework and your growth offer for, I mean, going into 2025. Maybe when you're watching this, it is 2025, I don't know. But hopefully you can take something away, and remember, your offer will always change as the market changes. So as I'm making this, you'll need to swap the mechanisms, but it will roughly stay the same in terms of the protocol. But yeah, if you want to know, or I mean, as a question, do you want to know what the actual back-end offer of this looks like? Then I've got you, right? I'm hosting a completely free, as I mentioned, I'm not selling you anything. I'm literally hosting a completely free live training this Sunday in much more depth. So I'm actually going to walk through like what the traffic automation can look like, what the sales conversion mechanism can look like in terms of an actual automation, like an AI automation. And I'll show you what a fulfillment offer can look like as well. So I'm actually going to give you, which I'll get to right now, I'm actually going to give away free AI growth infrastructures pre-built. So you can join this Sunday. It's going to be the 6th of October. If you're watching this after that date, don't worry. I'll probably do a few more in the future. I won't be giving away like what I'm doing this Sunday, but you can still hop on another call in the future. But this Sunday, I am giving away free growth infrastructures for free to everyone that attends, right? So you can actually just get them, plug and play into your business, and you can even sell them to your clients, which is what we're talking about right here, right? So that's going to be this Sunday. It'll be the first link in the description. You can enter that if you want. If not, don't worry, just like and subscribe, as I'm going to be posting pretty much every other day. I'll try to. I've got a bunch of really cool videos coming soon on the channel, but hopefully this helped and you found value in it. I think like 70% of you watching this aren't subscribed, so yeah, definitely hit that subscribe button. It helps me, and I'll be more motivated to post better YouTube videos. So yeah, catch you in the next video. Take it easy and have an amazing day.